What if I told you that just 5 habits could transform your life in 1 week? Too good to be true. In just 7 days, I went from feeling stuck to energized, focused, and productive, all thanks to these simple yet powerful habits. These aren't your average tips. They're practical, effective, and based on real-life results. Whether you want to improve your mental health, boost productivity, or simply live better, these habits can help. Watch until the end. Try them out and share your experience in the comments. Let's start your transformation today. Habit 1. Rising early. The first habit that made a monumental difference in my life was waking up early. Now, let me be upfront. I was far from being a morning person. My bed felt like my best companion, and the snooze button was my closest ally. However, I decided to give early rising a genuine try, and let me tell you, it changed everything. I started by setting my alarm for 5 a.m. initially. The experience was grueling. I remember forcing myself out of bed, groggy and questioning whether this effort was worth it. But I stayed committed, and by the third day, something remarkable happened. I started appreciating the calm and serenity of the early hours. There's an almost magical quality to being awake before the rest of the world, surrounded by peaceful silence. These additional morning hours gave me time for activities I'd previously struggled to fit into my schedule. I began my day with light exercise, simple stretches, or a quick jog around the block. This gentle movement not only woke me up, but also filled me with energy for the day ahead. I also carved out time to meditate and set my intentions for the day. These moments of mindfulness had a profound impact on my mood, focus, and overall productivity. One of the most unexpected benefits of waking up early was the feeling of having time on my side. I no longer felt rushed. I could enjoy a nutritious breakfast, savor my coffee, and carefully plan out my day. This unhurried start had a ripple effect, making the entire day feel more organized and less stressful. A particularly memorable moment was watching the sunrise from my balcony one quiet morning. The sky shifted through breathtaking colors as the world slowly came to life. It was a simple yet deeply moving experience that left me feeling grateful and at peace. That morning, I truly understood the transformative power of waking up early. While waking up early may not suit everyone, I encourage you to try it for yourself, even just for a week. Begin by setting your alarm 15 minutes earlier than usual and gradually increase the time. You might discover that the early hours not only add time to your day, but also help you start it with a sense of clarity, intention, and fulfillment. Habit 2. Daily exercise. When it comes to fitness, the second habit that made a profound difference in my life was incorporating daily exercise. Let me be honest, I wasn't always a fitness enthusiast. In fact, I had a knack for coming up with excuses to skip workouts. I'm too tired, I don't have time, or I'll start tomorrow. Does that sound familiar? One day, though, I decided it was time to stop making excuses and take action. I committed to moving my body every single day for 1 week, and the results were nothing short of amazing. I began with small, manageable sessions, just 20 minutes a day. I alternated between yoga, jogging, and strength training to keep things interesting and prevent burnout. The initial days were challenging. My muscles ached, and I felt drained, but I reminded myself why I was doing it, to feel stronger, healthier, and more energized both physically and mentally. By day 4, I began noticing significant changes. I woke up feeling invigorated, my mood improved, and I felt more positive and less irritable. What surprised me most was how those 20-minute workouts were about so much more than just burning calories or building muscle. They gave me time to focus on myself, release pent-up stress, and boost my endorphins. I vividly recall one crisp morning when I went for a jog. The quiet streets, fresh air, and rhythmic movement gave me a sense of freedom and mental clarity I hadn't experienced in a long time. It was just me, the road, and my thoughts, a truly empowering experience. Over time, I began to see physical improvements. My posture got better, I felt stronger, and my overall fitness noticeably increased. Yet the biggest transformation was in my mindset. Exercise transitioned from being a dreaded chore to becoming a valuable act of self-care. One of the highlights of this journey was trying yoga for the first time. Initially, I was hesitant, thinking I wasn't flexible enough, or that it wouldn't provide a real workout. However, after a few sessions, I was hooked. Yoga taught me how to be present, breathe deeply, and truly listen to my body. Its benefits extended far beyond the physical, offering me a newfound sense of inner peace and connection. Integrating daily exercise into my routine taught me that prioritizing my body positively influenced my mental health and overall happiness. It's not about perfection or extreme efforts. It's about finding an activity you enjoy and committing to it consistently. If you're hesitant about starting, my advice is simple. Begin small. Pick an activity you genuinely like, whether it's dancing, hiking, or taking a brisk walk. Commit to just a few minutes each day and build from there. Trust me, the rewards are worth it. Daily exercise has the potential to transform not just your body, but your entire outlook on life. Habit 3. Journaling. Journaling was the third habit that changed my life profoundly. Like many, I used to think journaling was for people with lots of free time or a natural inclination for introspection. I was skeptical. With so much going on, who has time to sit down and write about their day? But 1 week of consistent journaling completely shifted my perspective. It quickly became a cornerstone of my personal growth journey. I kept it simple. Every night before bed, I spent just 10 minutes writing. I purchased a plain notebook and a pen that felt comfortable in my hand. No fancy apps, no need to make it look pretty, just my thoughts on paper. The first night, I stared at the blank page, unsure of where to start. Eventually, I jotted down the basics: how my day went, what made me happy, and what I struggled with. Over time, I delved deeper, exploring my goals, fears, dreams, and insecurities. It felt like having a heartfelt conversation with myself, and that's when the magic began. Patterns in my thoughts and behaviors started to emerge. I realized that some of my worries were completely beyond my control, while others were areas where I could take meaningful action. One particularly stressful day at work stood out. By writing about the specific sources of stress, how they affected me, and how I could handle them better in the future, I was able to process my emotions more effectively. This simple act of reflection brought clarity and a sense of control over my feelings. Another powerful aspect of journaling was tracking progress. I documented small wins and milestones, no matter how insignificant they seemed. Looking back at these entries filled me with pride and motivated me to keep going. For example, I wrote about preparing for a presentation I had been anxious about. Seeing my preparation process and the eventual positive outcome written down was immensely encouraging. I also added a gratitude section to my journal. Each day, I listed 3 things I was thankful for. This simple practice shifted my mindset from focusing on what was missing to appreciating what I already had. One memorable entry involved a random act of kindness. A stranger helped me carry my grocery bags when I was struggling. Writing about that moment not only deepened my gratitude, but also inspired me to pay it forward. Through journaling, I learned so much about myself, my aspirations, fears, strengths, and vulnerabilities. It became a therapeutic outlet, helping me untangle the complexities of my thoughts and emotions. Journaling provided a safe space where I could be completely honest without fear of judgment. If you've never journaled before, I highly recommend giving it a try. Don't worry about grammar, structure, or having profound ideas. Just let your thoughts flow. Whether it's a stream of consciousness, a recap of your day, or reflections on a specific event, allow yourself the freedom to express. You might be amazed at the clarity and peace it brings to your life. Remember, the true power of journaling lies not in what you write, but in the act of writing itself. Habit 4. Mindful eating. Mindful eating was a transformative habit for me, as it addressed an issue I had overlooked for years. Like many, I was accustomed to eating on the go, barely aware of what or how much I was consuming. Meals became rushed and distracted moments, scrolling through my phone or multitasking on my laptop. I hadn't realized how much this mindlessness was affecting my well-being until I committed to practicing mindful eating for a week. At its core, mindful eating is about fully engaging with the act of eating and drinking. It's about savoring every bite, noticing the intricate flavors, textures, and even the sounds of your food. Determined to transform my habits, I pledged to eat each meal with intention and presence. I started by creating a distraction-free space for my meals. I cleared my dining table, set a proper place for myself, and removed all distractions. No phone, no TV, no laptop. Initially, it felt odd to sit quietly with my food, but soon this ritual became a soothing and grounding practice. Before each meal, I took a few deep breaths to center myself and focus on the moment. Almost immediately, I noticed how much more I enjoyed my food. Meals that once seemed mundane became exciting as I paid attention to each bite. Foods I'd eaten countless times, like fresh vegetables or ripe fruit, revealed flavors and textures I'd never fully appreciated. The crunch of carrots or the natural sweetness of strawberries became vivid, as though I was tasting them for the first time. One of the most remarkable changes was how much more satisfied I felt after meals. Eating slowly and mindfully gave my body the time to register fullness, helping me avoid overeating. For instance, a simple bowl of oatmeal, which I used to wolf down, became a rich sensory experience. I savored the creamy texture and the gentle sweetness of the honey I drizzled on top. This small, mindful act set a positive tone for my entire day. I also became more attuned to how different foods made me feel. Processed, heavy meals left me sluggish, while fresh, whole foods energized me. This awareness naturally led to healthier food choices without feeling restrictive. Another valuable lesson from mindful eating was recognizing the emotional triggers tied to food. I began to notice when I was eating out of boredom, stress, or emotional comfort rather than true hunger. Addressing these emotions directly, like taking a break, relaxing, or calling a friend, instead of mindlessly snacking, made a huge difference. One evening, instead of reaching for dessert to satisfy a craving, I paused to assess if I was truly hungry. Realizing I wasn't, I opted for a calming cup of herbal tea instead. That small decision reinforced how empowering mindful eating can be. Incorporating mindful eating into my daily life improved my digestion, enhanced my relationship with food, and positively influenced my overall well-being. This habit has stayed with me far beyond the initial week, and I cannot recommend it enough. If you'd like to try mindful eating, start with one meal a day. Sit down in a distraction-free environment, take a few deep breaths, and fully engage with your food. Notice the flavors, textures, and sensations it brings. This simple practice can transform how you experience eating and deepen your connection to your body. Habit 5. Limiting screen time. The fifth habit, limiting screen time, was particularly challenging for me and is likely relatable for many. In today's digital world, it's all too easy to spend hours scrolling through social media, binge watching shows, or checking endless emails, but I realized that excessive screen time was draining my energy, hurting my productivity, and even disrupting my sleep. Determined to make a change, I set boundaries and observed the effects. My first step was setting a daily limit of 1 hour for non-work related screen time. This meant no endless scrolling through Instagram, no late-night YouTube marathons, and no aimless TV watching. Initially, it was tough to adjust. Screens had become my default for filling any spare moment, but I knew change was necessary. The first benefit I noticed was the extra time I suddenly had. I hadn't realized how much of my day was consumed by screens until I consciously reduced their use. With those reclaimed hours, I rediscovered hobbies and interests I'd neglected. I picked up a book I'd been meaning to read, started doodling and sketching again, and even experimented with new recipes in the kitchen. One evening, instead of watching TV after dinner, I decided to take a walk in the park. The fresh air, the rustling leaves, and the simple joy of moving my body felt incredibly refreshing. This stark contrast to the usual screen-induced lethargy made that walk a cherished part of my daily routine. Another significant improvement was in my sleep quality. I used to bring my phone to bed, scrolling through social media or watching videos until I felt tired. However, this habit often left me restless and wired, making it hard to sleep. By eliminating screen use before bed, I found it easier to wind down. I introduced a screen-free bedtime routine, reading a physical book, meditating, or reflecting on my day, which resulted in deeper, more restful sleep. My energy levels improved dramatically as a result. I also noticed positive changes in my mental health. Without the constant flood of news updates, social media comparisons, and digital distractions, I felt calmer and more present. Conversations became more meaningful. I was more attentive to those around me, and I felt engaged in my daily activities. It was as though a mental fog had lifted, allowing me to experience life more vividly. One memorable moment came when I spent an afternoon in a local cafe with just a notebook and pen. I jotted down thoughts, planned goals, and even sketched. That uninterrupted time felt peaceful and deeply fulfilling, something screens had rarely provided. Of course, there were moments of temptation, and I occasionally slipped back into old habits. But each time, I reminded myself of my goals and the benefits I was experiencing.